talking about, some methods that we can use for selling Seventh-day Adventist publications. So this is my topic this afternoon, and I hope that we all can enjoy and can be benefited from this class because they are all part of the growth and the success that we can experiment as we continue to work for God. My purpose and my objective in bringing, this class to share with you is to give you some new ideas, new insights of, how we could develop yourself and how you could improve your ministry, probably experiencing some of these different methods and implementing some of them in your ministry and your life. Of course, the very first and most traditional method that we have in the literature ministry work is the door-to-door method. And this morning, when I talked about, the ladder of success, I mentioned about the door-to-door method. This is the most important and the most efficient method that a literature evangelist can have. And if you are new, or if you are coming just with the intention of, probably learning a different method, I would highly recommend you that before you start learning or talking or experimenting any other method, please make sure that you learn the door-to-door method. If you are not planning to learn or to develop, this method, and you want to go to the next ones, is like, when you are planning to learn how to drive, and you even don't know how to put, the key in the, ignition, key or place. Because it's like, going to drive without knowing the basics of the driving experience. So the door-to-door is the basic, is the one that actually can bring a person up to speed and can put the person in a position to actually learn other methods. It gives you the basics, the knowledge, how to make a presentation, how to interact with people, how to call people's attention, how to raise, the interest, how to present the benefits, and so on and so forth. So that's why the door-to-door method is really, really basic and very important. Now, is the door-to-door method going to be used until the very end? No. Why not?
Yes, until Ellen White says, until in heaven is spoken is finished.
Yes, until probation lasts, and until in heaven it's pronounced, it's finished. There will be opportunities for, literature evangelists to canvass and to go door to door. Now, it's becoming more and more challenging, especially in the big cities, for people to welcome a stranger, at their door. And that's why we, as literature evangelists, have to learn and develop other methods. Because if you go to a place, if you canvass in a territory where people are not willing to welcome you to their door, so you have to find other ways in how to approach people. In North America, we are facing this challenge. Most of the places, it's hard, if you go out in a cold in a cold call, as we call it, and you just try to break through and to talk with people, it is very challenging. It's possible with the students, but with regular literature evangelists, it's becoming more and more challenging. But you still have to see people in order to be successful. Remember, as a literature evangelist, you will not be employed unless you are, standing before a person, before a customer. And there are some methods that can be applied and introduced just to help you to get before, people. But you still have to be there, and you still have to talk with people in order to sell books and in order to, do your work. There are some methods that I have listed here that can be, an aid to help you to be, seeing more and more people. This method of lead cards is very used in the U.S. and in some other, big cities in the world. I don't know if you have, lead cards here in South Africa, but it would be advisable to develop, probably some advertising materials if you still don't have it, especially to use in cities like, Johannesburg, Durban, Pretoria, big cities. We have a kind of a prospectus, a display book as we call it, and actually it's like a sample, a book sample, where we have inside a pocket, and the literature evangelists, they just put some lead cards inside of those books. And they go to doctor's offices, dentist offices, waiting rooms, and they just place, the books there. And when customers come to see the doctor or the dentist, they find the books, they open the books, and as they browse them, they get acquainted with them, and they find, the lead cards, they fill them out, put them in the mail, and then the literature evangelists, each one has their code that they print in the card, and when we receive the lead cards in the office, then we send them back to the literature evangelists, and the literature evangelists, they go and they visit the customers. It's a very interesting method because people already have shown interest in knowing more about, the publications. And the lead cards, they just help for you to identify those customers that are really interested, and then they also help you because as you go to visit those customers, you already have their names, their addresses. Sometimes if they are requesting information about Bible stories or any other, books for children, you already know that they may have children or grandchildren. So you approach the customer already knowing and having some information about, their background or their area of interest. Another method that is becoming very popular there in the U.S. among literature evangelists is, the method of using drawings. And they use this method, especially in combination with, big sets of books, or even the Bible, the family Bible. So they prepare a drawing box and a display where they set, the books, and close to the books they have cards, and they announce the drawings, and people that stop by, they fill out those cards because they would like to get, a free set of those books. And the literature evangelists, they have to invest. Sometimes they spend, some money there sponsoring or giving that Bible away or that book, set of books away. But at the end, they have a lot of cards to follow up with, and people that would like to, get, that material, that particular set of books, and they are very successful because, again, they have the name, they have the address of the person, they know that the person is already interested in getting that particular material, and it is a very interesting method. Another method is the display. We have some literature evangelists that are using this method when they go out to a shopping center or to a supermarket where they are not allowed to be there and to be present, but they are allowed to leave, a display of books arranged, and then with the display also some cards where people can fill out and put their names and addresses. And we have, several literature evangelists that are doing this, and quite successfully. People come by, the display, and they found, the books, they find the books, they find the cards, and they fill them out, and literature evangelists then later on have the opportunity to visit them in their houses, in their homes, or in their businesses. A different method is the expositions at fairs, flea markets, supermarkets, shopping centers. The difference between the display method and the expositions is that with the displays, usually the literature evangelists, they can't, stay there. But with the expositions, literature evangelists, they can actually be there physically, and they can give, information to the customers, and sometimes they can sell on spot. People come, I don't know here if you have, fairs, county fairs where people bring, animals, and they have, a contest, and sometimes they have tractors, all, businesses that would like to promote, something to the farmers or to, people that are involved in growing, grains or whatever. And there in the U.S., they have, those big fairs. The same thing in Brazil. And literature evangelists, they buy a booth, a space on those fairs, and they come with the books. And sometimes they have all kinds of attractions to attract people to their booth. Sometimes they verify, the blood pressure. Sometimes they verify, the blood sugar level, if people have, diabetes or not. And sometimes they have nurses and doctors that are invited to come to the booth. And they have all sorts of activities to call people's attention. And it's a method that works very, very well. People stop by and they learn about the product. Sometimes they buy on spot, or sometimes they fill out a form, and you go and visit, with people later on. Very, very interesting. Another method is the method of advertising in newspapers and magazines. And we also have several literature evangelists that in several parts of the world, they use this method. There are organizations that have their own newsletter. Big organizations, they have their own newsletter that they use to communicate with their employees. And nowadays, it's becoming more and more frequent, the electronic newsletter. They have an electronic newsletter that is sent electronically to their employees. But usually, those big organizations, they will allow you to either advertise in their magazines or in their newsletters, or even display or have a display of books somewhere in the company. For example, we there at the Review and Herald, we don't allow a salesperson to come and to visit the employees, because it would be very disruptive to allow, somebody to come and be there, especially the ones that work at the plant and everything. But we have a policy where we allow, if a salesperson wants to come and set up a display, we have a special place there, and they can set up the display, and the employees that are interested during their break time, they just pass by, and if they are interested, they can sign up, and so on and so forth. But we also have a newsletter, and sometimes it depends. If the Human Resources Department feels like, a product or an information would be relevant for the employees, we also place in our newsletter, those informations or those type of information to help, the employees. Now, I want to talk about this method because it is powerful. And I have seen, this method kind of revolutionize the literature evangelism work in several parts, in several countries of the world. It's the method of making presentations in churches and business places. I talked about it, briefly this morning, but I want to expatiate and explain it a little better now at this time. Ellen White says that the health message is what? Is the right arm of the gospel, of the message. And God revealed this to Ellen White not by chance, because God knew that as we would approach the end of times, the diseases and the illnesses would be something that would really, really be present in people's lives. Today, you can go out and visit, a family, and you can be almost assured that in each family we have, a health situation or a health problem. Sometimes people struggle with a heart disease, sometimes with, high cholesterol, sometimes with, hypertension, diabetes. It's, you name it. People always are struggling with, a health issue. And in each family, you can find at least, one health problem. Now, this is a phenomenon that is not only taking place, among the families, but among society in general, and also among the workplace. For example, in the U.S., the companies are very, very concerned because people are becoming sicker and sicker, and productivity decreases as people, mess up with their lifestyle and with their health. So the companies and even the government, they are very concerned with, this situation. In the U.S., obesity is a big, big problem nowadays. And just for you to have an idea, the Congress has passed a law called the Law 19, obligating the schools to develop a program creating consciousness giving education to, the kids about, obesity. So it's a big problem. Health is a big issue, a big problem. And the situation is not going to get better. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. And I honestly believe that the Lord has allowed, Ellen White to receive light about, the health reformer, the health reform, and we are so blessed as Seventh-day Adventists because we know, brothers and sisters, the truth. And we have received, from the Lord, the truth about, health. And if we don't use it, and if we don't take advantage of it, the other people, they are already discovering, things that by inspiration, Ellen White, received from God more than 100 years ago. So it is important for us to keep that in mind and for us to develop ourselves so that we'll be able to move in the direction of, making presentations in churches and business places about health. We have several literary evangelists. As a matter of fact, we call them medical missionary workers, because what they are doing is medical missionary work. They are not medical doctors, but they are doing medical missionary work because they are going out and they are teaching people how to change their lifestyle and how to, have a better life. And through the means of, public presentations in churches and business places. Now, how does it work? Well, you have to have a computer and a video projector like, the ones we have here. And then you just train yourself to be able to make a very attractive presentation, dynamic presentation, using, these devices. And after you make the presentation, you introduce the books, and you can pass out cards, or you can have a display depending on the type of, place that you are making your presentations. If it's in a church setting, it depends. If the church would not have any restrictions, afterwards you could have, a display or an exposition of books. Or I have seen the most effective way where you get more and more people would be to pass out cards, and then afterwards you start visiting these people and talking with them personally and working with them according to their limitations and with their finances and so on and so forth. But it's very, very powerful. And with this method, you can reach people, 50, 70, 100, 200 people all at once with one presentation and be very successful. The other method is very similar to the presentation method, but is the method of going to places like business places or even churches and having a seminar. What is the difference between a seminar and a presentation? Usually a presentation happens one time. A seminar can be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. And you go to a place and you present one topic at each time. And then you go in the next day and you present another topic. And the following day you present a different topic. In that way, you go there and you make a kind of a seminar. And through these seminars, you have the opportunity to talk about several topics, several issues, and at the end, the same way like you do with the presentations, you have the opportunity to show the books and to talk about, the books and share with people about, the message that you have and how you can help them to have, more and more information. Family reunions with prizes. We have at least half a dozen of literature evangelists in the U.S. that are using this method. I don't know if here in South Africa you have had, those Tupperware parties or Amway parties. It's very interesting. You go to a family, and usually you start with a family that you know, probably from church or a neighbor, and you kind of challenge that family to invite, their neighbors, their friends, to come for a special presentation. And that host family organizes, their house, their place, and to welcome their neighbors, their friends. And when they come, usually they have some juice, they have some, snacks that they offer, to the people. And then the literature evangelist comes to make a full presentation of the different materials on education, on health, on family issues. And it is interesting because the people are there just to listen to your presentation and to what you have to say. So you bring the books and you make a presentation, and then you have some prizes that if people purchase a certain amount, the host family gets some prizes, and even the people that came to attend, depending, they also can get some prizes. You can have some drawings, and then from that family reunion, you challenge another person that is there, and that person then goes back to their place, and they promote according to the date and the time and the details that you have arranged. They promote the same reunion in their neighborhood, in their place, and they invite their friends and their neighbors to come. And it's a chain, from there you schedule the next one. And we have some ladies there in the U.S., at least, half a dozen ladies that have been very successful with this method. And they invite their friends, their neighbors, they come, and when they are all together, then the literature evangelist makes the presentation and shows the books and sells the products on spot. It's a very, very unique and powerful method. I mentioned this morning about the vegetarian cooking schools or seminars, and especially about this chef that has been very, very successful making this type of program. They go to a church, they go to a place, and they offer vegetarian cooking classes, and at the end, they have the books, and they are quite successful. And then we have the methods, or the method of referrals. This method, each and every one of you could use. And let me tell you this, if you have not been as successful in terms of sales or in terms of reaching people, just try to implement this method. It doesn't matter if you are going door to door, or if you are making presentations, or what kind of method you are using. All of you can use referrals. And this method can make a huge difference. You can just ask people to give you names, or you can also challenge them. We have a particular lady in Texas, in this big state, of Texas. You know what she does? When she sells to a person or to a family, she challenges that person and says, almost like this, look, you can get, this for free. It can be free. If you find me 6 customers that will purchase the same, material, this one I will give it to you for free. And sometimes, people, they just go out, they talk with their neighbors, they talk with their relatives, they start calling people, and they want to get, theirs for free. And sometimes, like we say there in America, you have to spend a quarter to make $1. Sometimes you have to spend a quarter, you have to spend 25 cents in order to earn $1. And that's what, some literature evangelists are doing. They challenge their customers and they say, look, if you find me 6 customers that will be willing, to purchase, this material, I will give yours for free. And you will see, you may find customers that they will do that. They will do it. Especially if they like your product and if they like you, they will do it. They will work hard, to find other people that are also interested in getting the same products. One method that has not quite been implemented in literature evangelism is this method of database. The most important element in the canvassing work structure is the customer. Sometimes literature evangelists, they knock on 6, 7, 8, 10 doors in order to finally meet and find a customer. And you know what happened? Usually after you find a customer and you sell, a set of books to a customer, you get so excited, so happy, that you forget all about it. You go and sometimes you deliver the book and you just pray that customer one day will be in the kingdom and the Holy Spirit will touch, their hearts, and one day they will be in the kingdom. But you know what? We are losing big time.
Yes.
Because for the companies in general, the most valuable element in the entire process is the customer. So we should learn to keep track and to build up a database of all the customers that we visit, and especially the ones that we sell to. We should have a database. Every contract, every sale that you would be able to make, you would have to care. You would have to keep that information as something almost sacred. And you know why? Because the publishing houses are constantly coming with new products, new materials. Like Saphalis, they started, with the encyclopedia of medicinal plants, and then encyclopedia of foods, and encyclopedia of ecology. And now, the book about, a healthy mind, how to develop a healthy mind. And Elizabeth has announced already, some other new books that they are coming. And the same thing, with Review and Herald and with Stamburo Press, we are constantly coming with new books, new materials for children, on family. Like, Stamburo Press now is coming with, these books by Nancy Van Pelt, all great books. And like we came now with, all these cookbooks and the next superpower and Life Without Limits and all these books. If you have a database of customers, every time you have a new set of books, you will just visit that customer again. And you will tell, look, I am coming with some good news. I have some new products. And our goal should be to visit, those customers over and over and over until they would start, coming to church and become Seventh-day Adventists. Amen. And even after that, we should still, visit them to convince them to become, literature evangelists. So that should be our goal. And keep that in mind. This is something, referrals, a database, all this, are methods and things that we should do in order to enhance our possibilities. My time is over, but I will try to do, very fast. I have still 2 slides that I would like to share with you. The other method is, the telephone calls. It's using the telephone to make appointments and to try to contact people and to, talk about our work and see if they would be interested, in having us to their house to make a presentation. We have in the U.S. Several literature evangelists that they work with their spouses as a team. And while, they are out there, the spouse is back home making phone calls and trying to see if they can make appointments. And in some areas it works, better than in others. It's true now that the telemarketers, they are just bothering people, and sometimes it's kind of challenging to get hold of people and making appointments. But it's still a good method that can be used. Now, I want to go over these 2 last slides very quickly, because somehow we can learn, from what is taking place in the world today, and we can adapt those things to our ministry. New ways of thinking. And I have, put here 2 columns. One is the old way, and the other one is the new way. So here's what, is taking place today. The old way of thinking was, well, it is important to learn. Today, people are saying it is important to learn, but you have to forget, what you have learned to relearn. And that's what the companies are trying to do with their employees. It is important to have new ideas. That was, the old way of thinking. Manage from the past to the present. And the new way of thinking today is, it is important to abandon old ideas, because the world is changing and changing and changing constantly. So it's important to abandon, old ideas. And the companies today, they manage from the future to the present. They are trying to understand the mindset of the customers and what is going to take place in the future, and then they manage from the future to the present, instead of from the present, to the future. The old way of thinking is the bigger company overcomes the smaller one. But today is the fastest which overcomes, the slower one. That's what's happening today. And as soon as they have a discover or something, the fastest company is the one that, gets the market. It's not the biggest one. So today you have to be fast. The organization's objectives is, in first place. That's in the old way of thinking. Today, it is the customer who is in first place. And we can learn from that. It is not my interest that should come first, but it's the customer's interest. And we should do, things according to, the customer's perspective and not, our own perspective. The old way of thinking was hire employees with great talent. Today, the focus is hire employees who love to satisfy customers. That's the focus. The focus is on the customers. You can get anywhere solving problems. That's the old way of thinking. Which is the new way of thinking? You can get anywhere taking advantage of the opportunities. So today, people are just seeing the opportunities that they have, and they put the customers first. And when they put customers first and they take advantage of the opportunities, then they are successful. The old way of thinking was the priority is to have profit. Today, the priority is to satisfy the customer. In first place, identify the mission of the organization. That was the old way of thinking. The employee works for the organization. But today, in first place, identify the customer's needs and expectations. And the employee works for the customer, not for the company. Because the customer is the focus, is the center. If any mistake comes up, we must correct it. That's the old way of thinking. Today, we need to avoid mistakes to happen. Let's work in the processes and in the all aspects to avoid, the mistakes to happen. So if we can avoid mistakes to happen, we'll be better off. And then the leader is the one who commands. In the old way of thinking, the leader is the one who commands. But in the new way of thinking, the leader is the one who inspires. Amen. The leader is not a commander, but the leader is the one that sets up, the page, the rhythm by, his example and by the way he behaves and by, the way he can inspire and motivate, the employees. I'm just bringing this as a compliment just to help us understand that we are living in a changing world. The world is constantly changing. And we also have to change, especially with this focus. The focus today is on the customer, is to discover, what the customer expectations and needs are, And as we are able to discover, the customer's expectations, we'll be able to better satisfy them, to better attend them, and to be more successful. Well, I feel like I spoke to you almost for 3 hours today. And I don't want, you to get, too much tired of me. And I think it's time to quit and to have, some break. On Sunday, I am going to bring you some other interesting things, and I am going to talk about the different types of literature evangelists. And I want, you to think about, which or what kind of literature evangelist are you, and how you can, better improve your work during this year of 2008. I hope and I wish that all of you can get out of the little hole and make things better, make things differently. And I wish that all of you can use the letter to be more successful, improving, in all the things, 1%, 2%, 3%. Because if you are able to improve in everything a little bit, you will improve in the overall performance, and you will have a more successful year. May the Lord bless all of us, and may the Lord also give us a happy Sabbath. That's my desire and my prayer. Amen.